and I stood up against that. And then I fought for the narrowing of Parker Road right behind us because it was a death trap. People were being injured and killed on that road. So I fought to make sure that they did narrow it. I've been endorsed by the fire, by police, by the realtors, by City Watch, by AFL-CIO, the Chamber of Commerce, but most importantly, I want your endorsement. That's the one that matters to me. So I want to ask for your vote tonight on March the 12th for Gregg Weiss for City Commission. I am an activist running to be a commissioner, not a commissioner running to be an activist. So thank you very much.
I just want to know the rules. Okay, thank you. Okay, so I've already, I raised my family here. My husband's in the room, and if you don't know this already about us, we own McMount Art Glass, which is a company that we started also 35 years ago. So we have been married for 35 years. Thank you. And we have been business partners for 35 years, and that is a unique specialty that I bring to the table that I challenge almost anyone in the room to say that they could do. But I do it and I enjoy it because my husband and I are very good partners. And we were good partners in growing our business from a $200 investment to the 25th largest studio in the United States. We started on Lakeview Avenue, which you may, if you've been here for a long time, is that a better one? Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
Better?
Yes.
Okay. We started on Lakeview Avenue. If you've lived here for a long time, and I know that many in the audience have, you would remember that Lakeview Avenue was not always a big pink granite building. There was a time when it was a historic street, and it was little cafes, and it was a pedestrian-friendly place to shop, and that's where we started McMount. And when the Goodman Company purchased all that property to put up Phillips Point, we moved to Dixie Highway, which is directly across the street from what is now known very well as the tent site. But we were across the street from, at that time, Roxy's. So we have seen a lot of things change in the last 35 years, but one of the most significant changes that we experienced that you probably can remember, but it's important for us not to forget, is that behind Roxy's was a fabulous community of mostly small bungalows, a few houses that were larger, but mostly a neighborhood community centered around a church. And there was a school that was sitting back from it. And over time, it became a very depleted neighborhood, and over time, it became a slum. It was very, very difficult to do business on Dixie Highway. We were robbed regularly. We were robbed at gunpoint. We had our copper pipes stolen from us while we were using the water. and so it was really like being back in cowboy and Indian days, and it was a tough time for the city. But the city, it had vision. And they purchased little by little every single house in that community, leveled them all, and had enough vision to work with a developer to put what is now City Place, which has completely changed the complexion of this city. I've lived it, I know it, I understand it, and I have the same kind of vision. And it's exciting to me to actually be the commissioner that gets to vote on the things that are coming before us and make these kinds of changes. I also remember very well that if you think about sitting at the Kravitz Center, and the next time you're there, think about sitting in the Kravitz Center and you have no idea the fight that occurred to take down Connie Mack Stadium. That was a baseball stadium. Commissioner Robinson remembers. Everybody thought that was the worst idea ever to put up the Kravitz Center. But what do we have now? No one even thinks about it any longer. We just know that we have a fabulous venue where famous people come and we can go and enjoy. So I think it's very important to have someone on the commission that understands the past, knows how to go into the future, and hasn't just been here for 6 or 7 years. I really haven't had a lot of issues that have come before the city that require me to deal with crime. We have, I'm very happy to say though that we did have the opportunity this past year to interview a fabulous group of men and women for the new police chief. And I'm very proud of the decision that we made with Chief DeMasi. I think that he has changed the morale on the police force. And I also think that he has made a difference to the community. I know he comes into our community, something that didn't used to happen in the past. And he speaks regularly at our neighborhood association meetings. He makes us feel safe. We see a difference in the community. So that is an opportunity for the commission to have, to make those kinds of decisions that are going into the future. And it's a tough decision because we know that we would like him to stay for a long time. We had to make the right choice for us. I have, I'm sorry, I have to look at my notes because this just, Mr. Weiss went a little longer than I thought, so. Okay, oh, let's talk about Open Sky for a second. I understand Open Sky pretty well. I've done a lot of research on it, and I understand that there's a lot that is going to come before us in order for us to make the right decision about the radio system. What you might not know, though, is that the county uses Open Sky, has been using it all this time. The fire department that we currently have uses Open Sky, and they have been using it for a long time successfully. I'm not suggesting that it's the thing to stay with or the thing to go away from. I am suggesting that we know all the facts before we make a decision. And we will, on February 28th, have the consultant coming forward, and we have paid a consultant that does know this kind of information to tell us, the commission, exactly what he has found out and give us a direction to go in. And that's the time to make the decision about what to do. Not throw the consortium under the rug before we know all the facts. I'm very fact-driven, which is the reason why we saved $28 million with the ECR plant. This was a very interesting situation that you may not know about. You've probably read about it in the paper if you've kept up with some of the things that are happening with the city. But there is a pelletizer 2 miles away from our plant that is county owned and operated. So instead of us building one for $28 million, I worked with our city commission and the consultants to bring to the city another option, and that option was, instead, we voted against building a pelletizer and saved each and every one of us $28 million. That's not each and every rich person or each and every poor person or each and every voter. That's each and every person in the city. And that speaks very loudly because the commission, that's our job. That is what we are charged with. We are charged with making decisions that affect each and every single person, north, south, east, and west. And I think we'll go to questions.
Okay, thank you, Shanon.
You're welcome.
Okay, someone would like a question? Yes, sir. Speak it so they can hear you out there.
Yes, sir. My name is William. I'm Gregg. The city of West Palm Beach is approximately 35% African American. The African American community, not only in the northwest section, has been neglected fundamentally proportionally to taxes, tax revenue. The CRA just said they were going to spend $2.3 million in that section of town, which is pennies on the dollar. When you can see that they spent $30 million on the waterfront and other places. The African American community would really like to know exactly what you will do to make everything equitable and more fair so they can get a proper share of the resources of the taxes that they pay into the city. What will you do to fix that?
Shanon, why don't you go first?
Is that how we're going to do this? We're both going to...
Yeah, then the other person can respond.
Well, I think
we'll take turn.
Okay, that's fine. I'm fine. I'll just leave it on. Okay, is it on? $2.4 million at a time in the economy when we have a $6 million deficit it's not as enough, and it's not as much as I would like it to be, or you would like it to be, or we know it deserves. And a spotlight has been put on especially the historic Black community. And I'd like to keep the spotlight there and keep the thumb on the administration of the city, and going into the future, make sure that it does make a difference. I know that we, as a team, as the commission is a team, and we are a very team effort. We have people like Commissioner Robinson that are always fighting for the community, always bringing and giving us the information that we need as a commission to know exactly what's going on in everybody's backyard. That's the reason why we have 5 commissioners, so that we all know a little piece about each one of our areas. And I really appreciate you bringing this question up, because I think that this is definitely a decision that was a good decision to spend the money, but far too long in the making.
Thank you. To address your question, first let's make sure, I want to make sure everybody in the room understands what you're referring to when he's talking about the CRA. And understanding the CRA is an area of downtown, also includes the northwest portion of West Palm Beach. And the money that is raised there, the taxes that are collected from that area, must stay in that area and be spent in that area. So that means it can't be moved around the rest of the city. And Mr. McCrae, you're absolutely right. It needs to be a priority, and not from just the sense of being African American, but from the sense of being the right thing, because it impacts all the economy of the whole area. The whole area, I mean, we've spent and we've invested in a very tight way in the core of the downtown, but it needs to be moved out now. We're seeing growth there. You're seeing new developments coming in. I mean, we're going to look at the All Aboard Florida project, which is going to put a new train station downtown, which is going to bring lots of new people, and of course they're going to have money to spend as well in our downtown. That's going to bring new revenues, and those revenues need to be prioritized into those areas that have been neglected for so long. And as commissioner, I can tell you I will prioritize that.
If you have a specific question for one of the candidates, go ahead and ask that candidate, and then the other can respond. Okay. Yes, sir.
Actually, I'd like positions on this, the Lake Point project specifically, and water in general.
Sure. Yes, sir. We'll take turns. We're out of time tonight.
So what Tom is asking about, and let me give you a little background, is he's talking about a project that's called Lake Point. It's a water storage project up in Morton County. What's being discussed, or what he is asking about, is what do I feel about it? Here we have a number of options on the table in terms of getting water or having access to water or places to store our water. Right now our water is stored out in a place called Grassy Waters out by North Lake Boulevard. If you haven't been there, it's a beautiful place. I suggest you go have a look. It's very, very beautiful, and it's something to behold. However, what happens in the case of a drought like we had a few years ago, or recently, is there wasn't enough water there for the city to maintain our water supply. So the city has undertaken looking at a variety of different options, and one of them is this project up in Martin County that was being proposed, where they had some rock pits that what they want to do is they want to take water from Lake Okeechobee and put it into the rock pits, and then they would deliver that water to us. But it wouldn't be for free. They want to take the free water from Lake Okeechobee and then sell it back to the city of West Palm Beach. What their proposal talks about is that the cost of that water is going to be about $1.25 per 1,000 gallons. Now, if you don't know, our current cost for water is about 3 cents per 1,000 gallons. The other thing that we need to know about the Lake Point project is that the water is going to travel in an open canal from Martin County down to West Palm Beach. And the experts, they believe that we'll lose anywhere from 30 to 40% of that water through evaporation and seepage. So the ultimate cost of water is around $1.60 per 1,000 gallons. Now, it's expensive, but obviously if you need water, you have to have it. But I want to do things in a more cost-effective way with a higher benefit. And what's also being proposed, though, is this opportunity to take water from Indian Trails. Literally, Indian Trails literally flushes billions of gallons per year out to sea. And what is being discussed is being able to capture that